Through my journey in Minecraft, I've seen more than just a few things that you probably wouldn't ever even conceive to be possible in this game for their respective times. From the simplest of maps that used nothing but redstone and a few command blocks back in the day, to the most incredible mods that came recently, and even the servers that were built from the ground up somewhere in the middle of the way, all of those were three of the biggest reasons why Minecraft became such a popular game. Being someone who always wanted to be like the people who worked on all of those, I've studied my fair bit of redstone, command blocks, data packs, plugins, and a very slight bit of modding. And since my channel is mostly about that, I feel the need to share this experience with everyone. And I don't mean as in only the path I've traveled, but the path you could be traveling were you to become like those who shaped map making in Minecraft, or the ones who work on adding the most unbelievable content into the game through mods. So welcome, I'm Ghosty, and today I'll be showing you how you can do anything in Minecraft. We start in 2014, the first time I really got into Minecraft. After the first few months of playing it, the time where you learn how to play, then you find a few friends and you all start doing it together, I discovered commands. Not only the TP or game mode ones, but some others that were a bit more specific, such as tellroll, which allows me to say any custom message in chat, and another command that lets you give yourself a head with a custom skin. Well, no big deal for most people. Usually they just skip past those commands, but being the devious child I was in games, I decided it was time to mess with my friends a bit. For a bit of context, this was right when Herobrine was this entity that no one really knew if it existed or not, thus making us all a little scared of him. And so, I had a plan. I'd make Herobrine join the game and pop in the chat, give myself a Herobrine head, make myself invisible to hide my name, and put on some armor to have a body. A silly joke that I expected to get them confused, so we'd then have a laugh and forget it forever. Fast forward to around 2017, and I was still playing this joke as a minigame, and even with other groups of friends I still did this whole thing, and everyone seems to really enjoy it. But then, in 2018, together with the whole 1.14 Aquatic update, came possibly one of the greatest features of Minecraft: data packs. It may not have been a big deal for a lot of people, but for anyone who did map making Minecraft, this was huge, as it made it possible for you to use command blocks without command blocks, essentially. After a while, maybe 2019, my decision was that it was only logical to take on the task of making a custom data pack that would allow me to more easily scare my friends, but while I was doing that I kinda lost track, and instead added a bunch of weapon sets, a few custom monsters, a new type of resource for them together, and slowly built a village as if it were the villagers doing it. It was great fun, but we slowly stopped playing it. Data packs can be very unintuitive to work with, hence why I hate making them nowadays, and if you're not smart about it, they can make the server very laggy. I was not smart about it and the server slowly became very laggy. Then, in early 2022, while I was stuck in my house because, you know, there was a pandemic going on, someone told me of a few powerful plugins that could do what I always dreamed of doing. So, using those plugins, I remade the entire minigame once again. It was also way better, with weapons having improved skills, a few very needed balancing fixes, better NPCs and even a boss of which I have only this footage left. And this is where we are on the journey. My next step is to go into modding territory, as I finally learned a language close enough to Java for it to be not too hard. But what matters here is that I've gone through the whole of this journey and learned enough doing so that I think I can share it with others. Then, I imagine you may have at least a bit of interest in learning one or two of those things, right? I'll take your silence as a yes. Well, then let me take you around your options. Redstone, command blocks, data packs, plugins, mods. Which one to use? Well, doubt is no more, for I have at least two of the millions of answers you may want. We'll do the following. I'll show you a few things that can be made with each option, then show you the extension of where it can reach, and, at last, tell you in which situation would it be suitable to use it. For starters, we have redstone, you know, the red dust you mine underground. Added into the game back in the alpha version, this works as simple wiring, blah blah blah, you probably know the generals of it if you're here. You can easily make 2x2 doors, not so easily make 3x3 doors, make simple parkour pieces and even logical gates that require a few conditions for something to happen. Or you can go the distance and do what this guy did, which is a whole 3D renderer that shows spheres, shadowing and reflections. It's inconceivable how or why anyone would do that, but honestly it's pretty impressive, so I'm all for it. Doing what he did may be going a little too far most of the time. From what I've seen, Redstone is a great tool for map making if you plan to combine it with some command blocks, or if you want to make a minigame that could be replicated in survival. You don't need to learn much for that, as once you learn the simple AND OR gates, the basic T flip-flops, and understand what each component does, it comes mostly down to practice. If you'd like to check any videos that may help you get started on Redstone specifically, take a look at those two on the screen. Then, we have level 2 of map making, command blocks. You can't obtain them normally, and it wasn't even possible to get anything else through commands up until recently. When working together with Redstone, they can make very interesting maps. For example, I have not stopped walking forward since the start of this clip, but once I look back, oh, I haven't gone forward at all. As for extreme examples, I can't give you any recent one, since most map makers good enough to make something extraordinary with command blocks would choose to use data packs instead, as they are much more versatile. The most clear use I can think of for command blocks is for simple things, such as teleporting players, giving items, filling or removing walls, anything that could be easily activated by Redstone or with simple conditions. For example, what is really happening in the corridor example is just that I am getting teleported every time I walk a specific amount of blocks forward, it's just not possible to notice it. Speaking of data packs, let me tell you a bit more about them. Like command blocks, they use commands, but this time inside MC function files, which are essentially just a bunch of commands put in a notepad that will be executed whenever you call for them. They are the most powerful vanilla feature for map making, and much more than just that, as you can do virtually anything with it. Data packs also have the versatility of being just a group of files that you can copy through words, not necessarily needing to have a whole map for them to work and not being limited only to a single map. And, for our extreme example, the guys at the Flow Network made this map, called Witchcraft and Wizardry. No, this is not a mod, this is a single map with both a resource pack and a data pack. You should probably not try to do something as incredible as this if you're alone, as they were no small thing either, but it is very impressive that this can be made without mods. If you'd like to get into data pack creation, I'd say that you first learn the basics of command blocks and then learn the storyboard, tag and execute commands. Here are some videos and some guys who make really good data pack related content, be it tutorials or just random creations. More than any of those, I think the most powerful tool you can have to create more content are plugins, losing only to modding. Whenever you set up your server, there is a multitude of plugins you could use to add new features to your game, you just have to pick them carefully. For example, ToroToro has made this incredible fight against what is basically an evolution of a Wither. This was made using plugins such as Mythic Mobs and Model Engine, and certainly required a lot of effort to be made. The only real drawback is the need of a server, which may be annoying to install and not everyone is willing to do that just to play your creations. This, and that picking up on plugins may be time consuming, especially considering that each one will have its own peculiarities. If you do want to make a server and try using plugins, then you can just check this video I've made, which would quickly explain how to install your own server. And now, for the final boss of creating stuff in Minecraft. Mods. I don't think I need to tell you how powerful modding is, really, but I don't think I can really tell you where to start. You see, I haven't yet gotten to the actual core of modding, as I've only done the simplest of things. But what I can tell you without a doubt is that making a mod as great as those are is no easy task, as it requires more than just Minecraft knowledge. Another thing I can certainly say is that this guy has very good tutorials on how to mod, so if you want to jump into the modding train, then there it is. Okay, so for a quick recap. Redstone is good for map making when combined with command blocks, while also being a good choice if you're going to make a minigame possible to be made in survival. Command blocks are great to make simple tasks simpler, especially while working with Redstone. Data packs are like command blocks, but they are much more versatile, don't need a physical space, and are easy to be brought to other worlds. Plugins are good for anything, as long as you are willing to take the time to learn each individual one. Mods can do basically anything, but I can't further comment on them because I haven't gotten deep into modding. After all I've told you about in this video, you should at least have an idea of where to take your first step towards, instead of just randomly walking in the complete dark hoping you hit a gold mine. But the best advice I can give you is to do what seems most fun to you after a few tries. For me, data packs have become borderline unbearable, and I've hit a plateau on my learning curve that I don't think I'd be getting out of too easily. But for you, it may be pleasant finding solutions to whatever problems come, but honestly, it's just a matter of preference. In the end, I can assure you that with enough effort, you'll be able to wrap your head around any of those options, and with the 3 most powerful ones, data packs, plugins and mods, you'll be able to create literally anything you want. If you'd like to see me suffer trying to take my first step towards modding, then I'll shortly begin my journey doing that in this channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know if this video helps you make anything in the comment section too, I'd be very happy to know what you guys can do. Now, it is about time I get going, so thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.